Hi guys! So today I am talking about an article that I read recently that I thought was really helpful, and it's about your 30s. Now for those of you that are thinking, well, I'm not in my 30s, I'm in my 20s, I'm in my 40s, doesn't really matter. I think it's an article which kind of provides a blueprint of things that are really important to focus on in adult life. So if you're in your 20s, it will help to really start to focus your mind for the things that actually really do matter. If you're in your 40s, then great, at least you get the heads up on what it is that you kind of need to focus on in order for adult life to work smoothly. Anyway, this is an article that I read and it's by Mark Manson and it's called 10 Life Lessons to Excel in Your 30s. So basically about 600 people contributed to the article and it's their ideas that have actually been taken on board and used to create this article. And incidentally, it's people who are, towards the end of the 30s who have contributed or who are older than 40. So people who've already had that experience of what the most important things in your 30s are. Okay, so let's get started. The first point is finances. So get your finances in order. They say start saving for retirement now and not later. So essentially it's the time for you to educate yourself. In your 30s there's no more excuses about not knowing about finances, not knowing about investments, not saving a portion of your income every month. There's no excuse for any of that anymore. Also not knowing about things like mortgages, pensions, etc. You need to educate yourself in your 30s. There's a quote here by someone who is 41 and it's, "I spent my 20s recklessly, but your 30s should be when you make a big financial push. Retirement planning is not something to put off. It's all on your shoulders now, educate yourself." There's many reasons why you should look after your finances, but there were a lot of stories from people who got into real hardship later on because of certain things happening and they hadn't actually set aside of a certain amount of money or investments, whatever, to take care of themselves. So your finances, number one priority. Number two, start taking care of your health now, not later. And I love this quote. "Your mind's acceptance of age is 10 to 15 years behind your body's aging. Your health will go faster than you think, but it will be very hard to notice." So essentially, you've probably heard of it before, but you really need to take control of your health in your 30s. You need to eat in a way which actually nourishes your body. You need to exercise. You need to be proactive about your health. There's another line here which I really like. "It's not that your body suddenly breaks down one year. It's been breaking down all along without you noticing. This is the decade to slow down that breakage." Kind of says it all. Okay, the third point is don't spend time with people who don't treat you well. Learn how to say no to people, activities and obligations that don't bring value to your life. Okay, so this obviously refers to friends, etc. It calls for stronger boundaries in your life. And it basically says don't settle for mediocre friends, jobs, love, relationships and life. And also have good boundaries because there's no point in clinging on to friends that you've had, for example, in your 20s or maybe from before then when you thought you need to stay in contact just because you've always been friends, and actually they don't add value to your life. You can't be your genuine, authentic self around them. You can't really add value to them because you guys aren't on the same page, etc. You know in your heart whether you're friends, whether the relationships you have, whether they're right for you, whether they actually work for you. And if they don't, then your 30s are the decade to kind of lovingly let go of certain relationships or friendships that you may have, and to focus on more positive ones that are conducive to both of you. Number 4, be good to the people you care about. Show up with and for your friends. There is a really nice little quote here which I find says a lot about the 30s in general. Tragedy happens in everyone's life, everyone's circle of family and friends. Be the person that others can count on when it does. I think that between 30 and 40 is the decade when a lot of shit finally starts to happen, that you might have thought never would happen to you or those you love. Parents die, spouses die, babies are still born, friends get divorced, spouses cheat, the list goes on. Helping someone through these times by simply being there, listening and not judging is an honor, and will deepen your relationships in ways you probably can't yet imagine. Need I say any more? Like, the difficulties that you will go through in your 30s, you're probably going to go through some difficulties. Your friends, whatever people in your circle are going to go through it. Be there for them. Be there for them. It's as simple as that. Point number 5, you can't have everything. Focus on doing a few things really well. This is about getting focused. So what is it that you actually want to do with your life that you really want to do? Like if you had to pick a top number of things that you want to do, what's it going to be? You can't do 100 things all at the same time, because that's going to like dissipate your efforts, and it's not going to amount to anything. So what is it that you really want to do? Focus and start doing it. Okay, point number 6. Don't be afraid of taking risks. You can still change. Here, the quote is, while by age 30, most feel that they should have their career dialed in, it is never too late to reset. Okay. So basically, it is such an easy decade to have the days turn to weeks, turn to years, only to wake up at 40 with a midlife crisis for not taking action on a problem they were aware of 10 years prior, but failed to act. Now this is from someone who's 41. And another quote, biggest regrets I have are almost exclusively things I did not do. And this is by someone who's 47. So take calculated risks. If you stay in the same place all the time, you're not going to grow. There's a lot of things you're not doing that you think are too scary to do, they involve too much risk, you're not going to do anything. Those are the kind of things that it's quite likely that you will regret when you're in your 40s and beyond, not doing things. Also, I like this one. I am about to turn 41 and would tell my 30-year-old self that you do not have to conform your life to an ideal that you do not believe in. Live your life. Don't let it live you. Don't be afraid of tearing it all down if you have to. You have the power to build it up again. So again, is your life actually your life? Is it the life that you want to be living? Are you genuinely happy and content and you feel like you're actually making progress in your life, you're growing, you're doing the things that you really want to do, or not? And if you're not, if you're just living a life that's conformed by what other people have told you should do, then, you know, think about what the days turn into weeks, turn into years. Is this how you want to live your life? If the answer is no, then you need to change something. You actively need to change something. Okay, point number 7. You must continue to grow and develop yourself. I cannot stress this one enough. Okay, so you have 2 assets that you can never get back once you've lost them. Your body and your mind. Most people stop growing and working on themselves in their 20s. Most people in their 30s are too busy to worry about self-improvement. But if you're one of the few who continues to educate themselves, evolve their thinking and take care of their mental and physical health, you will be light years ahead of the pack by 40. So essentially, you need to constantly grow, no matter what age you are. Constantly develop, constantly grow, constantly learn. I remember someone who was 35 saying that he was too old to learn another language, too old to learn how to use chopsticks. That is exactly the kind of attitude you don't want to have, simply because if you're not growing, you become stagnant. And growing is an important part of life, and we always need to be growing, to be moving, to be developing, not standing still. Okay, point number 8. Nobody knows what they're doing. Get used to it. So we look around us and we think everyone's got their act together, everyone knows what they're doing. In reality, even people in their 30s and 40s don't really know what they're doing. Okay? Unless, hold on. You cannot anticipate your life 5 years into the future. It will not develop as you expect. So just stop it. Stop assuming you can plan far ahead. Stop obsessing about what is happening right now, because it will change anyway. And get over the control issue about your life's direction. So, basically no one really knows what they're doing. And in a way that's a relief. Knowing that actually no one really knows, but everyone is just, getting on with it, getting on with doing things, even though they might not necessarily feel like, wow, I'm actually totally in control. No one actually ever feels like that. Point number 9, invest in your family, it's worth it. There's a very good quote here. You're too old to blame your parents for any of your own shortcomings now. At 20, you could get away with it. You just left the house. At 30, you're a grown up. Seriously, move on. Okay, and then there were some questions about marriage, and it was basically if you had a healthy relationship and it was the right person, then go for it. If not, you should definitely not get married. But if it's the right person and you know in your heart it's the right person, then the consensus was to go for it. Number 10, be kind to yourself, respect yourself. And let's see. Life is hard, so learn to love yourself now. It's harder to learn later. Be kind to yourself. And when you're confronted with a problem, don't, when confronted with a problem, ask yourself, is this actually going to matter in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time? If not, think about it and then let it go. And then the last quote of the article is basically this one. When I turned 40, my father told me that I'd enjoy my 40s. Because in your 20s, you think you know what's going on. In your 30s, you realize you probably don't. And in your 40s, you can relax and just accept things. I'm 58, and he was right. Okay, so that was the article. I will link it in the information box below. I basically covered all the main points, and I'd love to know what you guys think, what your experiences with these points have been, and if you have any other advice you'd like to add to people in their 30s or maybe even in their late 20s, early 40s. Thanks for listening, and until next time.